Today I've got Annie Gibbons from Glaucoma Australia, the CEO, talking to us about referrals to Glaucoma Australia. Hi, Annie. Can you just tell us a little bit about why glaucoma patients should be referred to you and at what point in the process?
My immediate response is everyone should be referring every single patient with glaucoma to Glaucoma Australia, because we're going to definitely double their adherence rate. So what the services Glaucoma Australia provides are to maximise the patient's adherence to the medication, which is obviously going to save sight. Why should we do that at the earliest opportunity? And I'm assuming we're going to then start talking about from the point that they have been diagnosed as a suspect, is because we know that many of the added benefits of what Glaucoma Australia provides actually happen at that very early time. And so primarily, if you are diagnosed as a suspect from an optometrist at Specsavers today, you will then be referred to an ophthalmologist. We know that a third of those patients actually never go to that appointment. So the optometrist thinks they've gone because you've referred via Oculo to your ophthalmologist, but the reality is that if you don't refer that patient at that moment immediately to us, a third of those actually on our data were not intending to make that really important appointment.
So then, talking about the support that you give patients, what does it actually look like once a patient who is a glaucoma suspect is referred to you? What does that step of the process look like for you? And how do you communicate? Do you talk to them kind of on and on? What happens if they're a false positive? Are they forever on your books, or what happens from here on?
Do we harass them for life? The answer is no. So that moment that an optometrist presses Oculo, yes, they have glaucoma, go to Glaucoma Australia. We give them a little welcome email, and that email will be very light. We can send copies to any optometrist who would like to see what is there. It pretty much just goes and says, welcome to Glaucoma Australia. Your optometrist believes you may have glaucoma and we could add value to you. We'll be in contact with you soon. In the meantime, make yourself familiar with our website, which is all very much focused on what is glaucoma and so forth. So not scary at all. Our educator will then follow them up with a text message if we have their text, and just say we'd love to offer you free education and support. Would you like a call? And about 50% say yes, 50% don't reply. So that's okay. They don't get the call. What it does also do is trigger an electronic journey. So that journey goes and says, it's really important for you to make that appointment. Many people would think it's unnecessary, and that is understandable for all of these reasons. So we actually validate their thinking from that perspective, but that we then go and say, because of the way glaucoma works, it's really important because you wouldn't notice that peripheral loss to the naked eye, that you get that appointment made and you just get that either confirmed, or hopefully you may not have glaucoma and we need to just watch you ongoing.
And I know from talking to optometrists that one of the biggest things they find is that you tell someone that they potentially have glaucoma and suddenly they start freaking out, and anything that you tell them goes in one ear and out the other, and they kind of forget everything. Plus you're so time poor that actually making sure that they understand it and have got through that point can be quite difficult. So relying on someone like Glaucoma Australia to follow through and really support patients in that journey is a really helpful thing for optometrists.
It's so helpful. We assume that the optometrist has told them all of the relevant information. Of course they have. However, we know exactly as you said, Shane, that the patient is stunned, surprised. Their head is just going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They might have had a grandparent who went blind from glaucoma. So just mentioning the name, they might say, I don't even know what glaucoma is. They're thinking, how much is this going to cost me? How is it going to impact me? Will I lose my license? When you're at a state of shock, if you're suddenly told you may have a blinding eye disease, that's pretty overwhelming. So we get the full responses, the highly anxious, very stressed out, even crying on the phone, to head in the sand, they've probably got it wrong, you'd think I'd know, very casual, and everything in the middle. So we do assume that the optometrist has done that, but we also appreciate many of those patients, actually, the questions start appearing in their mind as they drive home. Once they've chatted to a friend, they've told a neighbor, they've gone to Google and got themselves themselves a bit overwhelmed, those are the times when the questions happen. And then that's when their decision making kicks in as well. So it is super important. We just revalidate what their optometrist has actually told them and try and make sure that when we say it and the optometrist said it, and then the ophthalmologist will say it, we'll get this consistent message. And that's what collaborative care pathways are all about. Backing up the same information multiple ways. And we also have the added advantage of being able to present information in up to 26 languages at any time. So our volunteer hotline involves final year optometry students and orthoptists from around the country. We have about 100 of those at any one time supporting our educator. And so that's really wonderful, because with that comes a broad variety of languages. So in multicultural Australia, that certainly helps when we have those needs as well.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Annie. Thank you for busting all of those myths and for really bringing to light why optometrists should be thinking about Glaucoma Australia when they're talking to their glaucoma suspects. For anyone who's wanting those stats that were mentioned, I will pop them in a Health Hub article so you can read them and see them all again. And if you have any questions for Annie or for myself, give us a call or an email, because we're more than happy to help. Thank you again, Annie, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, thanks so much, Deshane.